Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Many military veterans are seeking new careers. We visit one group trying to help them enter the field of agriculture. We've got an easy weekend recipe featuring cabbage and catfish. And despite wacky weather, some Virginia farmers are expecting record harvests this year. Welcome back, everyone. We're here in Nelson County at Dickey Brothers Orchard, where, as you can see, apple harvest is in full swing. And we're going to have a little bit more about what's going on here at Dickey Brothers later on in the show. But first, thousands of veterans will be returning to the States this year. Some will have jobs waiting for them. Others will be looking for a new career. There are several organizations in Virginia that match veterans with agricultural jobs, including the Patriot Farmers of America. A sprawling 300-acre farm in the northern Shenandoah Valley, just 65 miles from Washington, D.C., is where Patriot Farmers of America began. PFA is a new nonprofit farm initiative that trains veterans in sustainable agriculture and entrepreneurship while they're transitioning from their careers in the military. On a beautiful autumn day, vets like Ned King work to train other vets to use the Helical Outpost system. This is the first site for the Helical Training Center, a facility designed to teach hydroponic farming with high-tech equipment.
What we've been doing here is working with hydroponics, and we're doing it sustainably by using our solar panels to generate all of our electricity. We also have a water reclamation system that does 2,000 gallons of water reclaiming a day. That's a reverse osmosis and carbon filtration. And we do all that so that we can provide up to 1,200 heads of lettuce every week.
King worked as an E4 specialist in the Army. Today, he is a student at Lord Fairfax Community College and works hand in hand with his fellow veteran, former E6 Staff Sergeant Derek Riddick, who also attends school while working in the greenhouse.
Just wanting a change for myself and continuing my education and seeing different parts of the country led me to the Berryville area. I came up back in June, volunteered for a couple of weeks, met the founder of Patriot Farmers of America, and I was brought on board in August to September, I believe.
An increasing number of veterans are returning home with limited career prospects. According to the U.S. Labor Department, the average national age for farmers and ranchers is around 56 years old and rising, with few new farmers entering the field. Meanwhile, the Labor Department also estimates that there are about 495,000 unemployed veterans in our country, and 42% of them are between the ages of 18 and 44. Former soldiers like Riddick and King represent part of the new generation of American farmers.
Last year with this specific greenhouse here, we got nearly 3 feet of snow. And the greenhouse, the operations continued. My partner, he came and helped a little bit with the snow removal, and we were, unlike many other people in the area, still able to conduct our operations. And just the military does prepare you for the unexpected.
With the military sequestration and downsizing of the military, you have about 55 to 60,000 troops that are supposed to exit in the next few years. And so this is a group of technically adept workers that are self-starters and ready to take action on issues that really need to be tackled. And it's the perfect group to take into an upskilling, technologically advanced agriculture job.
More than 200 veterans have been brought to the site in Berryville, Virginia to train using the Helical Outpost system. The plan is for veterans to build more of these cutting-edge greenhouses across the country.
There are a lot of different things that if a veteran were interested in doing agriculture, there are a lot of different avenues that they could come into this program and learn about. Business operations, the actual operating of the greenhouse, distribution, maybe a little bit of advertising, sales, and marketing. So there are a lot of different opportunities inside of agriculture, and it's not just get on a tractor and ride around all day.
It's not all training either. Riddick and King take their weekly harvest to local restaurants, stores, and local farmers markets to generate income. Patriot Farmers of America has plans to work with more veterans in the coming year through community service projects and classes offered in partnership with Virginia Tech and Virginia Cooperative Extension. If you're a veteran interested in their program, you can learn more about it by going to patriotfarmers.org.
Encouraging military veterans to become farmers and ranchers dates back to before the American Revolution. After the French and Indian Wars, some American veterans of the conflict received land grants from the British Crown for their service. Between 1775 and 1855, the U.S. government provided what were called bounty land warrants for some types of military service. After World War I, interest grew in helping military veterans settle and start farms, particularly in California. And in the 1930s, the New Deal provided a number of resettlement and subsistence homestead programs to military veterans. Since then, the USDA has been the principal federal agency for programs to assist veterans who want to farm.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about planting spring flowering bulbs. Stay with us.
Dazzling lights on winter nights will put you in the mood this holiday season. It's the Illuminate Light Show in Santa's Village at Meadow Event Park, November 18th through January 1st. This spectacular holiday lighting event takes travelers through a musical showcase of color, lights, and design. Giant animated displays and illuminated trees lead to Santa's Village, where families can visit Santa Claus and enjoy the sights and magic of Christmas. To learn more, go to illuminatelightshow.com. As we head into winter, some gardeners are already thinking about spring and planting bulbs. Mark Viette shows us how to pretty up our landscape with bulbs in the garden.
Late fall, early winter are the best times to plant bulbs that flower in the spring. And I mean bulbs like tulips, narcissus, muscari, alliums. And there's a variety of ways that you can plant these bulbs to give you the effect that you're looking for. Of course, do keep in mind, for many of us, tulips, it's a one-time planting. You know, the bulbs are grown to a size that give you the best flowers, and they don't always come back year after year. There's a few varieties that do come back better than others. I really like daffodils because daffodils are deer resistant, vole resistant, squirrel resistant. It's actually toxic to the animals that might feed on. And then of course you have the beautiful fall blooming colchicum with pink flowers, and this usually blooms in October, November. You could also plant that now for next year's bloom. Couple things keep in mind. Narcissus you can plant a little deeper. You can plant your narcissus or daffodils about 8 to 9 inches deep. Tulips maybe 4 to 6 inches deep. Crocus maybe 2 to 3 inches deep. And I'm going to show you a couple neat ways of how to incorporate all the bulbs in one single hole or planting to give you an extended blooming time period. One traditional way of planting bulbs is to use something like this and to go in your flower bed and just go ahead. And that's just one way of planting bulbs. But there is another way that you can plant bulbs. And that way is to take an area and, you know, maybe a shovel or a pitchfork and maybe a 2 foot by 2 foot area, and you just take your fork and you work the soil, loosen it up. I do recommend the addition of bulb tone. Bulb tone is an Espoma product, and you just take that and you throw it on top, maybe 1 to 2 handfuls. You continue mixing this. Then you're ready to plant your bulbs. What I'm going to do is start out with bulbs that can be planted deep, and this is going to be daffodils or narcissus. So you're going to come in and place them a little closer than normal, maybe 5 inches apart. And in this hole, I'm probably going to put close to maybe 6 or 7 bulbs. Then I'm going to take some of that beautiful prepared soil with the bulb tone and gently cover this. On top of that, I'm going to plant some tulips. So I'm going to have extended blooming for quite a while. About 3 inches apart, 4 inches apart. This is great if you're going to maximize small areas, backyards, terraces. Then I'm going to come in with some more of that well-prepared soil. Cover it just a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with some muscari. And on these, you can almost just, broadcast them. Come in with a little more soil. And then I'm going to come in with crocus. And what I'm going to do is just push the crocus through. So I'm going to have bulbs that will bloom for close to 2.5 months in a very well-defined area. And then when I'm done, cover this up, mulch it, and then you're set to go with a beautiful, it's almost like taking a pot full of bulbs and planting it in the garden. You can enjoy this for 2 months or longer. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Looking for an easy home-cooked meal this weekend? Chef John Maxwell shows us how to combine cabbage and catfish for a quick recipe next in the Heart of the Home.
From our farms to your table. Virginia dairy farm families are dedicated to providing your family with nutritious, high-quality milk.
I'm Dan Myers, a fifth-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Roy Vanderhyde, a first-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Gerald Heatwool, a third-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I am dedicated to dairy, my cows,
My milk,
and our land.
Catfish is available all year long, but fall is the time for cabbage. Chef John Maxwell shows us how to make fresh coleslaw to go with your catfish feast in the Heart of the Home.
Hi, welcome to Heart of the Home here at Meadow Hall and Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia. Today we're going to play with a classic Southern combination. We're going to make some coleslaw and we're going to fry some catfish. It's just great Saturday afternoon food. We're going to start with our coleslaw. Right? I've got a half a head of cabbage here, right? So I could show you that I want to take this core out of it. This is the central core of the cabbage. So I'm going to take that out. Of course, I used a knife to loosen it. All right? And now I'm going to cut it in half again and start shredding this, all right, so that we got coleslaw size shreds. And that's going to go over here. We're going to do the same thing with an onion. And those are the two basic vegetables that are in it. All right? Cut the ends off, cut it in half, and take the peel off. So it just all comes off in one easy peel. All right. And now I'm going to take and cut it in the same size shreds. Now, depending on the amount of coleslaw you want to make, it's about a pound and a quarter of cabbage, right, to a half an onion is a good combination. I've also got some previously shredded carrots, and I'm going to add that to them. So I'm just going to throw a little bit of the carrot in there. Then I'm going to add the cabbage and onions. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, a couple of tablespoons, maybe a quarter cup or so of, or half cup rather, of mayonnaise. Right. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, right, and some sugar. Now what I got to do is just mix this up, right? And when it's mixed reasonably well, I'm going to add some celery seed. And add some celery seed. And this is all you really need to do to make really good coleslaw. And what's going to happen now is the acid in the apple cider vinegar and the acid that's in the mayonnaise is going to start to soften this cabbage. And when it's ready, right, we'll have a great coleslaw. So I'm going to set it over here to start that softening process, and I'm going to get ready to do the catfish. All right, well, I've got 4 nice fillets of farm-raised Virginia catfish down here in this pan, and I'm going to add a little bit of buttermilk to it. This is going to provide a surface for my breading. And the breading is a combination of wheat flour, white cornmeal, salt, pepper, and Old Bay seasoning. So if you're watching and don't know what Old Bay seasoning is, you live a long ways away. Well, while this is clarified butter in the bottom of this pan. Clarified butter is butter that's been melted and only the fat's being used. The milk solids and the water that's in it has been taken out. So now we've got these catfish, all right, and I'm going to put them in this breading. All right. You notice I'm using one hand wet, one hand dry. It's an old technique. Now the buttermilk is thicker than milk, so it helps hold the cornmeal and the flour on the fish. I'm going to put this fish in the pan with the side down that I want to be up when I serve the fish. All right? So in it goes. All right, there's the first one. All right, second one. So now, while that's cooking, I'm going to dish up some of this coleslaw. This is just delicious coleslaw, by the way. And move it over here so I can put the fish on it as it comes out of the pot. Take a little bit of lemon. And now it's going to take us about 5 to 7 minutes for this fish to cook. All right, well, this catfish, smelling delightful, right, it's just about ready. So I'm going to take and move it up here onto the coleslaw. So delicate, I've got to be careful not to break it apart too much. But here we've got good Virginia coleslaw with farm-raised catfish. Every week we make recipes using great Virginia-grown food. We make them in our kitchen so you can make them in your kitchen. Join us next week on Heart of the Home when we get to play with more great Virginia food.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on Chef Maxwell's website, chefjohnmaxwell.com. Catfish are one of the most popular aquaculture species raised in the U.S. 16 Virginia fish farmers raise $12,000 worth of catfish a year, mostly for local consumers or restaurants. Freshwater trout, clams, and oysters are more popular with Virginia fish farmers. But catfish are the most popular farm-raised fish in the nation. Almost 12,000 American farmers raise catfish in ponds or contain aquaculture systems. Meanwhile, fresh local cabbage is often available at farmers markets in the fall. 84 Virginia farmers raise cabbage commercially on 490 acres of farmland.
Virginia has experienced some extreme weather this year, and as Dave Miller tells us, that has led some farmers to have difficulties during harvest, while others are experiencing a bumper crop.
John N. Mills Jr. and his family farmland on the Pamunkey River in King William County that had been purchased since his father came home from World War II. They also still farm land in Hanover County that Nicholas Mills was granted from the King of England. This year's corn harvest yielded very good returns and was completed just as Hurricane Matthew threatened Virginia farmers.
Our corn crop primarily is doing very well. A little bit surprised me with the dry weather we had through August. It's been some very erratic places and fields with some dry spots that didn't do quite as well, but for overall, I'm pleased with the yield this year.
The latest harvest forecast from the USDA predicts Virginia corn growers will have a good year, with production expected to be almost 54 million bushels, up 11% from last year's harvest. Soybean production is expected to top 23 million bushels, up 9% from 2015. The cotton crop this year will be down 2%, even though yields are slightly higher per acre. Peanut production is expected to hit 72 million pounds, up 4% from last year. Of course, Virginia is not a major grain state. When you're talking about corn production, the Midwest is king. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and Nebraska are the largest corn-growing states. And if the trend holds up, this fall will mark the largest national corn crop in history. Back here in Virginia, soybean yields will vary according to where you are in the state.
Our soybean crop is looking very well. It looks like I'm expecting it to do very well. But like I said, we had a dry spell through August, but we had some rains come in very timely. And it's in the field right now. We have some that are ready to harvest with some that are just starting to mature. The beans look good right now in the field, but they're not as yet. They're not as till we get them in the grain bin. Right now, probably nothing as good can happen to them in the field. Like if that hurricane had came through, it could have blown them all down flat, and but then they'd have been standing in water. They could have had a lot of spoilage.
But while grain growers have little to complain about this year, fruit growers in the mountains of Virginia are struggling.
We had 2 days apart, was 20 degrees right during bloom for the peaches and apples. We only had about a quarter of a crop of peaches. We didn't have any nectarines at all, very few plums and damsons that we were hoping to have a good crop on.
The remnants of Hurricane Matthew didn't help either. Virginia's overall apple production is down about 5% from last year. The crop conditions are rated mostly good to fair.
It's been a challenging year, nothing that we haven't seen before, but if you're in a farming community, that's just the way it is.
Virginia grapes are the other major fruit crop that was affected by late freezes. Many grape producers also lost fruit when the April frosts hit after a warm end to the winter. But what fruit survived was probably helped by an extremely dry August in most of the Old Dominion. Grape harvest ended in early October, and Virginia grape production is expected to hit 9,000 tons, about 2% lower than in 2015. The good news for 2016 is most Virginia farmers are doing better this year than other years, and some are doing quite well. It all depends on the crops they raise and whether Mother Nature was kind this time around. In King William County, this is Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.